Well, for the first time ever, a Canadian astronaut will travel beyond Earth's orbit and around the moon. But after NASA delayed the launch of its Artemis II rocket this morning, Jeremy Hansen is set to head out to space as early as March instead of potentially February. We are joined by Cassandra Mary to tell us a little bit about the mission. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Before we get to the mission, just this morning as you were coming into our newsroom, there's now a delay. It's not going to be February 8th. It's pushed to at least March 6th. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so yesterday, or at least a couple of days ago, they started a 49-hour test. Basically, they call it a wet dress rehearsal, which is basically a pre-launch test where they fuel the rocket, do all of the ground-based operations, and unfortunately they ran into a few issues, but that's why they do the test.
Right.
So the main issue was hydrogen leaks. So now they're going to, resolve those issues for the next attempt.
Do they do another test now before the next one
Yes,
again?
they
So
will.
they'll do a retest?
They will do another wet dress rehearsal before attempting the launch again.
Good. Always safer than sorry, especially when we're heading around, right?
We want to keep our astronauts safe.
Yeah, okay, so it's so exciting having Canadians involved in this. Can you talk about the impact of a Canadian being involved in a mission like this?
This is huge. I don't know, this is a milestone for Canada's history in space because it is the first time a non-American will leave Earth orbit. Ever. So we will be the second nation to ever leave Earth orbit. And this is the first time since maybe 53 years since the Apollo missions that astronauts will go beyond Earth orbit, what we call deep space.
And when you think about that, like at this point moving forward, why do you think it's been so long since we've been there to go now? And now with Canadians involved, it's really exciting. But what do you think the delay was in there?
From the scientist point of view, we've never stopped researching the moon. There's more discovery to do. But now the return is really driven by the finding of water ice, so resources on the moon that we can use. And the whole point of this return to the moon is to establish sustainable human presence and work out all the technologies we need to then further us on to Mars.
It's like, even just like listening to you, it's just my brain goes into this, how are we even doing this possibility standpoint? I want to talk about the route and actually what they'll be doing. Can you kind of walk us through that?
Sure. So the Artemis II mission is the first crewed launch of the Orion space capsule. They're going to basically launch, they orbit the Earth twice, and then they go in like a figure-8 motion around the moon. And really there's a point at which they do what's called a translunar injection burn. So they fire their engines off just once, and a big one.
Okay.
And that's going to basically send them all the way to the moon. They use the moon's gravity to change their path back to the Earth, and that'll get them all the way home. They don't actually go in orbit around the moon. They just do a flyby and come back.
So just a little poke, peeking around, seeing what's happening, and then they come back.
Pretty much.
And what does the duration at this point look like for that whole trip?
It's just under 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So take around the Earth a couple times, take about 4 days to get to the moon and 4 days to get back.
It's so amazing. And when you think about a trip like this, it's incredible that Canadians are involved in this. As the preparation goes on, what does it go into for the astronauts preparing to go into a trip like this?
Wow. So they've been training for over 2 years. They've been going through every motion. They've even, in Canada, they do some training in Canada in our impact craters looking at geology, so that when Jeremy's kind of going around the far side of the moon, they're going to have a couple hours to look at the surface of the moon and look at craters and volcanoes and fractures and things like that. So some of the training's here, but all of the training, how to use they're testing this spacecraft. That's really for human spaceflight. So they've been practicing everything having to do with that.
It's so cool. And finally, before we let you go, especially maybe if people are just tuning into this now, if they want to watch the launch, keep in track with Jeremy, what's the best way to follow along this incredible journey? So check out the Canadian Space Agency's YouTube channel. They'll be posting updates on their social media, and then you can also check NASA's live updates. Amazing. So excited again. It's delayed February 8th, now pushed to at least March 6th. Just with some delays that they had, but it's a good thing because we want to test to make sure that they're good to go.
Exactly.
Cassandra, really appreciate your time this morning.
My pleasure.